So this is a story called Brindled Pit Bull. After she moved to Texas from California, Marla Hayden decided she needed some Western art on her wall. She found a Charlie Russell print online and bought it, a painting of a haggard, miserable, freezing steer caught out in the middle of a blizzard, surrounded by hungry wolves. It was called Waiting for a Chinook being a warmer wind that would sometimes blow across the northern plains for a few winter days. Marla had the print professionally framed and she hung it over the couch in her living room. Though she liked the cool, soothing blues and grays of the painting, she mostly liked it because she saw herself as one of the wolves, an alpha bitch perhaps, successful and fearless. But when the software company she worked for, Intech, laid off 300 people, including her fiancé, who worked in the finance department, and shipped another 150 or so jobs to India, Marla took the print down and put it back in the back of the utility room and hung drying clothes off the edge of the frame. Maybe she wasn't a wolf after all. 6 months later, her boss told her, very casually, that her own job was also going to Bangalore. The next day, Marla called in sick. For most of the morning, she lay on the couch watching television, gazing solemnly at a series of bad comics on the Comedy Channel. She hadn't had the heart to tell her fiancé, Jim Luckert, about her job the night before. He'd been telling her for months that her job was in danger. Even before his own layoff, he had been telling her that Intech was in trouble, that sales were lagging, that the officers had been spending far too much money. But that seemed absurd. Even after the great boom of the late 90s, it was apparent that growth, slower growth, sure, but growth would go on forever. Forever. Everybody knew it. You only had to look around Austin. 70 or so people a day were still moving in. The streets were jammed. New housing developments were going up everywhere. New strip malls, new buildings downtown. In the 3 years she had been in Austin, the city had been transformed. It was a totally different place and was still changing, still becoming. And Intech was a strong young company, an innovator. Intech hired the smartest kids from the best colleges in the country, and they were putting out the best systems management software in the world. Nothing could stop them. Her cell phone rang. Marla glanced at the displayed number. It was Jim, calling from his new job. She punched the button to answer. "Hi," she said. "I called you at work," Jim said. "They said you were sick." "Yeah, they were right." "Marla?" "Oh, it's nothing," Marla said. "I'm just tired. My stomach's messed up too. I just figured I'd take the day off." "Poor baby," Jim said. "You want me to bring you something?" Marla looked at the wall where Charlie Russell's doomed steer had been, where the successful, hardy wolves had been. In its place, she had put up a corny painting of Texas bluebonds, a horrible painting of a happy dog romping in an endless field of cheerful blue flowers in the spring sunshine, a painting so ugly and bad it was actually kind of cool, if you had a sense of humor. "No," Marla said, "maybe later. I think I'll go back to sleep." Jim worked in the billing office of a big law firm downtown and considered himself lucky to have found a decent job. Where was she going to go? Who wanted programmers anymore? Who wanted frontline managers anymore? India was taking all the jobs. Everybody over there in India was a genius, and they worked for nothing. It wasn't fair. Marla dreaded having to break down and tell Jim that he'd been right about Intech the whole time. Fucking Intech. Goddamn corporate culture, greed, idiocy, short-sighted foolishness. The big managers had ruined everything. Jim had told her that the canceling of the cab perk had been the first outward sign that the company was in trouble. The cab perk. Intech's recruitment brochures talk about the company's work hard, play hard philosophy, but the company also frowned on drunk driving, and so it offered free cab rides, unlimited free cab rides, to all employees. Jim told her the cab perk cost the company almost $30,000 a month. Really, they all took cabs, all the time, everyone, all the employees, all the young people from the best colleges in the country, all of them new to Austin, new to Texas, new to each other, taking cabs down to the 6th Street nightclub area 2, 3, 4 times a week, maybe stopping to get sushi on the way downtown, then milling with the vast crowds along the street, partying along with students from the university, other high-tech workers, some locals, everyone drinking and laughing. On some corners, mostly toward the east end of 6th, there would be knots of hard-looking young black men, and they always sort of shocked Marla. They scared Marla, though she knew she wasn't a racist. California had lots of black people, of course, and lots of Mexicans and Asians too. Marla got along with everybody. She treated everybody the same. But these young men, they scared her with their open shirts and flat, rippling bellies, and they disturbed her because they weren't supposed to be there. Texas wasn't black people. Texas was cowboys. Texas was George Bush. Texas was the old frontier where stupid white guys in pickup trucks would drive around and drink beer and brag about barbecue or football or something equally vulgar. In a group with Jim and their friends from work, Marla would sometimes circle 6th Street in the bright flickering neon light, shot bar to dance club, and on, and she felt safe in her group, even though when a hard young black man might try to get their attention, "Hey, can you tell me what time it is?" No one would answer. They would fall silent. They'd all keep walking silently until they crossed the street and went up the block or whatever. Generally, Marla and her friends kept to the west end of the street. It seemed safer, and the bars were just as fun. Later, going home in the free cabs, taking long trips to their homes in the far southwest or far northwest side of town. Everyone would be laughing and making calls on their cell phones, gossiping about work, telling each other how wonderful Austin was with restaurants and 6th Street and music and all the cool people at work, but how weird and crude and out of it the rest of Texas was. Texas they'd only seen from car windows as they drove in from San Diego or wherever, or looked down on from a mile up in the air as they flew in from Seattle or Boston. And the cab would speed by neighborhoods where the locals lived, the ones they saw on the TV news for winning chili cook-offs, or going on killing sprees, or getting in car wrecks. All those would-be cowboys sitting in the night in their cramped little houses drinking beer and cleaning their guns and admiring their Confederate flags while their girlfriends snorted cranks and their kids rolled around squalling on the floor in dirty diapers. A whole class of left-behind losers that no one would ever take seriously. The cab driver, if he was cool, would laugh along with them, knowing he was getting a good fare and a good tip, and it had all been such childlike, endless fun, one long party. It was never going to stop. The jobs would get better and better, and to pay more and more and more. But no, now it had stopped. It had stopped. The idiots from Nentech had totally screwed everything up. They cut the cab perk, and that was the first sign the company was in trouble. Then they downsized and downsized again. They still made money, and the stock went up, so they went ahead and outsourced. Marla wondered, what do those fuckers over in India need her job for? She had house payments to make. After she told Jim to call her back later, Marla rolled to her side and found herself gazing into the eyes of Ginger, a sleek, long-haired dachshund. She scooped Ginger up onto the couch and hugged her tight. "Oh, baby," she whispered, "what are we going to do?" Ginger didn't say anything and snuggled up close to her, and they drifted off to sleep.